Pokemon Legend Arceus is the newest installment of the Pokemon franchise. It's the first open-world Pokemon game, and I've been seeing tons and tons of footage from it, and it looks really fun. But instead of playing that, I chose to check out PETA's two Pokemon parodies, Pokemon Black and Blue and Pokemon vs. McDonald's. I recently played through Kitten Squad and Super Tofu Boy, and let me just tell you, those were some of the two worst gaming experiences I've ever had. PETA makes games to help spread awareness to their cause, but like everything else that PETA does, they fail to spread a positive impact. So I've hated every PETA game I've played. I don't know why I decided to check out these two Pokemon games. But let me tell you, if you didn't think these games could get any worse, you are sorely mistaken. PETA released their first Pokemon parody, Pokemon Black and Blue, in 2012. They then released another in 2013 called Pokemon vs. McDonald's. And that's the one I'm going to talk about first, just because that was the one I played first. The art in this game is horrendous as always. If it wasn't for the general gore of all the beaten up Pokemon, I would probably say this one looks the best out of any of the ones I've played, but the bar is super low, so that doesn't really mean anything. If you play on their website, you have a tortured Miltank on the side of your screen at all times, and on the other side is a deranged Hamburglar at all times. So in the game, their logo's made out of hamburger, there's a deranged Ronald McDonald on one side and a beaten up Pikachu on the other side. I didn't even realize until after the fact that this game is called Pokemon Red, White, and Blue. The website itself just calls this Pokemon vs. McDonald's, so I didn't know until looking at the footage. So I guess this game isn't just an attack on fast food, but an attack on the entire US. I'm sure that's a great idea. When you click play, you're given some text along with a tortured Grimace and Jigglypuff. The first paragraph essentially reads, "If Pokemon were real and saw what we were doing to animals, would they still be nice to us?" The second paragraph says, "Would they feel like it's completely ridiculous that Nintendo releases two versions of essentially the same game, then has the audacity to release a slightly different version a couple years later? And what would humans do to Pokemon if they got their hands on them in the real world?" Honestly, why even include that in your second paragraph? This is where the game would lose me if it ever had me to begin with. Full disclosure, I've only ever played through one entire Pokemon game, that being Pokemon X and Y, but I've watched the original show a lot, I've played some spin-off games, and I am pretty sure that Pokemon does nothing besides promote animal kindness to kids. Pokemon might be one of the most wholesome things ever. In the show and in the game, it teaches you to love and respect for all Pokemon, and literally any bad guy that disrespects Pokemon, tries to kidnap them or whatever, they get their ass kicked pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure all PETA saw from Pokemon was just two animals fighting and thought it was the same thing as two pit bulls going against each other in a dog ring, and then sent out a team to make a game about that. And is PETA really making fun of Nintendo like PETA has any legs to stand on, especially in the video game category? I mean, it's not like PETA would have the audacity to make a game, then make another game that's barely different a year later. They wouldn't do that. So after you get past the intro screen, you're thrown into battle. You're fighting the Hamburglar, a mysterious man, and your Pokemon is a beaten Miltank. At the start, the two are talking because all Pokemon can talk for some reason. I'll sum up the convo as fast as possible. The Hamburglar is like, "You're a cow, I own you." But the Miltank is all like, "Didn't your mom teach you kindness?" The Hamburglar then replies, "My mom told me to abuse animals and I want to satisfy my hungry customers." The Hamburglar then uses an attack called Butcher and the Miltank faints. Pikachu then just jumps out of nowhere and is like, "Brah, what the fuck?" And then the combat actually starts. The combat works the same as in Pokemon. You have your different attacks, you can lower the defense of your opponent, raise your own attack, stuff like that. There are also moves that are more effective than others. Meanwhile, the enemy's attacks always have a brutal name like Cage, Lasso, and Butcher. You then win the fight, and let me just read the text to you. "The people in Unova eat Pokemon, do they not? Only occasionally. And we're fighting to change that. Everyone knows it's gross." Did PETA just add their own Pokemon canon that they eat Pokemon? Is that ever confirmed in anything Pokemon? I don't think so. That's just weird. But we're gonna just gloss past that. "Where I come from, we eat other beings all the time. We're taught as children that we're the masters of the world." We use lesser beings as our entertainment, our clothing, and even our food. The Pokemon universe reinforces this message by teaching us that Pokemon are humans' property, to use and abuse however they wish. And you, Pikachu, play a bigger role in this than you understand. That's not what Pokemon are about. We exist for our own purpose. So just go back to wherever you came from and leave us alone. The Hamburglar then fucking dies and Miltank joins the party. PETA, are you sure you didn't hire George R.R. Martin for this one? Because this is some top tier writing. So when Miltank joins your party, you can name him, which was a mistake. I didn't even do this to be funny. As soon as I saw you could name him, I just went, there's no way. But sure enough, there was a way. I actually just couldn't believe it. I felt like a 12-year-old who just discovered you can write boobs in a calculator. The Hamburglar then just leaves through a portal for literally no reason. He could have just walked away. He could have just faded out if they wanted to, but nope, they made him walk through a portal. The portal has no reason for existing. No one else leaves through a portal. It's never brought up again. He just goes through a portal. Is this a Hamburglar thing that I don't know about? Because I don't think it's a Pokemon thing. But when he leaves, a chest drops. When you open the chest, you get a pop-up for an age-restricted video. No red flags here. I go to watch it on YouTube and there is another warning. I won't show any of the footage here. There is a warning on this video for a reason. I'm not exaggerating at all. This video is a minute long of animal abuse. I hate the fact that I watched it. It was disgusting, it was awful, and I don't recommend anyone check it out. And I'm sure that PETA wanted me to have that reaction. They probably think now that I saw some animal abuse, I'm gonna go vegan, I'm gonna try to help all the animals out. I don't think this approach works on most people, especially since when you go down to the comment section and see that the top comment says, "Where's Pikachu?" So the thing is, I agree that meat production companies shouldn't be treating animals like this. It's horrible and I don't agree with it, but this video does not make me want to take action at all. I've seen documentaries about McDonald's or fast food in general that didn't traumatize me, that gave me all the information in a more professional and just safe for work, I guess, kind of way. I wish PETA took that approach with this video. If PETA linked to a video, a short, fast-paced video with a bunch of information like that, I would be on board with this. I would have no hate, but instead they give you a literal compilation of animal abuse. I don't want to linger on this topic for much longer, so I won't, but at this point I have to ask, who is this game for? So this game is obviously for Pokemon fans, but the writing is so abysmal and it kind of reads like a children's story that I can't imagine this is for adults or teenagers. This has to be for kids. And if it is for kids, this is genuinely terrible. And the thing is, for the other PETA games, they're just trying to push their agenda in just obnoxious ways. But I feel like this is the first PETA game that I've seen that actually might be causing literal harm to children. They're literally linking kids with a video about animal abuse, and I know it says age-restricted video, but what kid doesn't lie when they put in their birthday when making a YouTube account or something? That means nothing. Alright, let's get back to the game. Miltank and Pikachu talk about how they have to stop people from eating McDonald's, and then they include a line that barely qualifies as a joke, as if this is gonna make me forget the animal abuse I just watched. They then walk to a McDonald's, and for some reason the sign looks like a monster logo. Miltank and Pikachu see they're selling Pokemon toys at the McDonald's, and they're all like, what the fuck, that's not cool, I'm gonna get my lawyer. They then talk to a perfect depiction of the average McDonald's goer, and pretty much all that happens is he's like, oh, you guys look delicious, let's fight, and then he makes a Reddit joke. The fight is the same as before. Spoiler alert, none of your Pokemon evolve. There's no new moves you're gonna learn, and there's no items you can use. You do get bios for your Pokemon, and they all read essentially the same, just a sad backstory. So when you win the fight, the game tries to be funny and fails. Then Miltank preaches more about nothing that you haven't heard before. And then Jigglypuff joins the party. I named him Puff Daddy. Puff Daddy then talks about how he was abused, and now there's protesters outside of McDonald's. Those protesters are Team Plasma, which is the team who worked on this game. They just say how cool PETA is for a second and then give you a chest. This time the contents of the chest are way less traumatizing, but still a bit traumatizing. You get a gross wallpaper of the game. I don't know why you'd want to look at this more than once, but if you do, you're welcome. You now go to a slaughterhouse where you find Jesse and James, or a parody of Jesse and James. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, there's not a whole lot of new things to say about this game. Jesse and James are like, oh, we want to slaughter you guys battle, you win. They're like, damn, I wish I worked at the tofu factory. You get Grimace as a Pokemon for some reason. I named him Gumdrop because Grimace always reminded me of a gumdrop. You then find Ash, who is like, hell yeah, I'm on your guys' side, and then he gives you a chest. This time you get a set of PETA-themed Pokemon cards. You then find Ronald McDonald and he's just like, meat's good, and then the Pokemon are like, no, meat's bad. You fight, you win, and then in Scooby-Doo style, they're like, who's the man behind the mask? And it turns out to be the McDonald's CEO. Alright. They then make another Reddit joke, PETA jacks itself off again, and the game ends. The end screen basically says McDonald's bad, and then again makes fun of Pokemon for releasing a similar game with no noticeable improvements, as if this game isn't exactly that. The end screen also tells you that you can type in PETA during a battle and get help when you need to, and when you do that you just get an extra hit with one of a few random Pokemon once per battle. That's it, you can play a game or go look at your treasure and be traumatized all over again. I won't go into detail of PETA's first Pokemon game, Pokemon Black and Blue, because there isn't really much difference at all. The story is pretty much just Pokemon should be free, you win your first battle, you get T-Pig, I named him George. You then meet Nurse Joy who gives you another chest, which is another video of nothing but animal torture. I assume I didn't watch it this time for more than literally 2 seconds, I just didn't want to sit through that again, surprise surprise. You then fight someone else, you get a Snivy, a Snivy, I don't know who this guy is, and I named him Leaf anyway. A Mudkip then gives you a chest, which is another wallpaper. During this, they share a dialogue where Pikachu is basically like, I fucking hate Mudkips, but even you lowlives deserve to be treated with respect. Then a Snorlax shows up for literally no reason and the scene then ends. You then fight this dude who has a Pokemon skin jacket. You win, you get Oshawott, I named him Adam Sandler. I was gonna name him Waterboy, but I wanted to be a little more creative. You get another chest with more PETA Pokemon cards. Then you meet the final boss, Ash. And remember, this is a prequel to the other game, so in this one, Ash is evil. Pikachu then talks about how he doesn't want to be imprisoned in a tiny Pokeball, despite the fact that Pikachu is the literal only Pokemon that Ash never puts in the Pokeball because Pikachu doesn't like it. Ash couldn't be more nice and respect Pikachu more. This just doesn't make any sense. Pick literally any other Pokemon that Ash has caught, you could have a case for that, but Pikachu's the worst example of this and it drives me freaking nuts. Okay, so then you fight, you win, Ash is like, damn, I'm on your side now. Slowpoke then shows up and says how cool PETA is, and then the game ends. The ending screen is just a screen that's like, boo, Pokemon abuse sucks. As you can see, these two games are very similar. They're essentially the same game, which just makes it so funny and so ironic how PETA just rips into Pokemon for doing exactly that. So what are my overall thoughts on the game? There is not a single reason to play these games. I beat these two games in 42 minutes, you can definitely play this in like 30 minutes, I just took my time because I was getting footage for this video. But the gameplay is basic, lacks literally any variety, not to mention strategy. The writing is just like any other PETA game, self-righteous and tone-deaf as all hell. They try to sprinkle in humor every now and then, but it always falls flat. If I had to sum up the visuals of this game in one word, it would be disturbing. They keep saying that animal abuse isn't okay, which I obviously agree with, but at the same time they're kind of saying that animal abuse isn't okay, but you can beat up humans to get your point across. I mean, am I the only one that gets this vibe? I can confidently say that these are the worst PETA games I've played yet. Okay, but let's try to look on the bright side of this. Did anything good happen from this game? I mean, as much as I don't like PETA, PETA still is a company that's trying to fight for animal rights. So some good must have come from this, right? Nope, it was universally hated. There was even talk about Nintendo trying to sue PETA over this, but I really didn't find a whole lot of information on this matter, so I don't think that ever happened. I really should have just bought Pokemon Legends Arceus.